Hi AlphaX team, I'm Yush Mukherjee, and I'm back with my hackathon presentation, Reading Buddy, the tool to help build healthy reading habits. Now, I'm sure that all of you can remember a time where you used to read regularly, whether that be in high school, college, or even more recently. And if that time never ended, then good for you. However, I'm also sure that there's a lot of you who, at some point in your life, just began to read less and less until you find it tough to pick up a book to read out of your own enjoyment. Maybe you just didn't find a book that resonated with you, or maybe it was a lack of motivation. Whatever the case, you're not alone. According to a 2022 survey by wordsrated.com, one-fifth of Americans hadn't read a book in the past 3 years, with that portion jumping to over one half if you just take the previous year. However, according to the Journal of Experimental Psychology, reading fiction can improve social cognitive performance, with the recommended amount being around 20 minutes to at least half an hour per day. So this means that using data from the US Census Bureau, we can estimate that around 136 million US adults, possibly a bit lower due to disabilities, are in dire need of reading. And this is where Reading Buddy comes in. The Reading Buddy platform has two main parts. The first is an AI assistant to help the user pick out a book they want to read. Now this means that the user doesn't actually have to go to a physical location like a bookstore or a library to pick out the book, nor do they have to extensively browse online. They can just talk to the AI bot about their preferences, and it's going to give them some suggestions. And what this does is that it helps them overcome their initial discouragement, and it gives them a book that they're 100% sure that they want to read, instead of having them settle for one that they're not entirely sure about. The second is a calendar to log the day-to-day thoughts and minutes, as well as track their overall progress. This helps them stay motivated and see how they're doing overall. Now let's get ready for a live demonstration. So you got the website. As you can see on the front page, we have our bot. Now, it's going to give you a prompt. You don't have to initially talk to it about books. If, for example, I'm uncertain about how the tracker works, I could ask about that. And then it's going to give you a response. Now let's get into the actual recommendations. Let's say we want to read about historical fiction. And then that's a bit vague, so it's going to ask you to narrow that down. Now, I could just ask, give me a book from any era, but for this demonstration, let's say I want to read about the Cold War. So now that that's specific enough, it's going to give me a bunch of recommendations, and I could ask the bot now about any one of these. So let's say, I want to hear about that book, and it's going to give me a short explanation. But let's say I don't really like this book, I want something a bit different. You can also do that. And then it's going to give me that short description. Let's say I do like this book. And then as the AI says, let's now check out the reading tracker. So as you can see, we got a calendar for the current month. Down here, we can log our reading. Let's say I went out and actually bought the book, got it, started reading a bit, and I'm ready to log my reading. Let's pick out the current date, Sunday the 7th, and go down and start logging. Let's just say I read it for 20 minutes. And then there's also a place where the user can log their thoughts. And now I can click log reading, and it's going to log that onto the calendar. As you can see, the box turned green, and our streak is at day 1. Now what the streak does is it motivates users to keep going by disincentivizing them from skipping days. But that's not all the calendar can do. It can also store previous logs. So for example, if I click on the 7th, it's going to bring up what I logged for that date. So now that we're done with the actual live demonstration, let's analyze some of our competitors. First, we have Character.ai, which does have some chatbots that can give you book recommendations, but Reading Buddy is better because it is entirely focused around books, and it actually has features to track your reading, whereas Character.ai doesn't. Now, Bookly is kind of the opposite. It has sophisticated features for tracking and timing your reading, but what it does not have, unlike Reading Buddy, is a recommendation system. Finally, we have Goodreads, which uses a less advanced algorithm recommendation system, which is a bit worse than the AI bot we have because it's less interactive. As you saw, we can have a full-on conversation with the Reading Buddy AI, and it doesn't have personalized tracking, unfortunately. However, it does have social networking. Now, overall, as you can see, as a smaller platform with less resources, Reading Buddy still differentiates itself by offering both recommendations and tracking to motivate users to read and to teach them to enjoy it. So in the future, we may expand to add a social networking aspect to our platform, as well as just generally polishing and scaling our product. So as you think about this project, remember the Charles W. Eliot quote, "Books are the quietest and most constant friends. They're the most accessible and wisest of counselors and the most patient of teachers." Reading Buddy seeks to scale this to millions of users around the world or around the nation at start, to connect them to the amazing activity of reading, leveraging the power of artificial intelligence. Thank you for listening, and here more excited.